I was tipped off about a big job at the top establishment. I don't usually ask questions, but something about these guys intrigued me. There was 3 of them. I have 2 marks and only 1 question. Is the BBC for me? Things haven't been going well. Then this job came along. They asked me to meet at this seedy dive, not knowing I was about to infiltrate the BBC. It's not like I could back out now. The first mark, Lucy Naden. I heard she got herself involved in a scheme called Face2Face. I had to find out how a nice young lady like her had got involved in a dark and seedy industry. I knew where I had to go next. What were your perceptions of the BBC before joining, and was the BBC for you?
My perceptions of the BBC were slightly different to what I think now. I thought, big corporate company, I was quite scared and thought maybe people weren't going to be as friendly to me, and a newcomer, I thought it was going to be quite difficult to maybe even make friends here. It's quite interesting because everyone has had to start at the bottom, so they've been where you've been, so that everybody's understanding. It's great.
The first mark was down, but my employers ain't the patient type. Have your perceptions of the BBC changed?
I think my perceptions of the BBC changed perhaps twice. When I arrived in the BBC, then I was a bit surprised by how, at least in Britain, it felt like a bit of a closed shop. That only certain people would get to the BBC. After time, I think actually a lot of work the BBC has been doing in this area, actually my perception has changed again, thinking it's a lot more open than perhaps people still talk about, but it's still a long way to go.
Do you have any advice for young people wanting to get into the BBC now?
Advice to young people to work in the BBC, it's tough, everyone wants it, so you have to persevere, you have to look very carefully what you want and how you want it, famously as it happens with the X Factor sort of and everything else, behind the instantaneous success there are years and years and years of hard work. So arriving straight away or trying to get a job straight away as the top presenter in the main programme on BBC One, very unlikely. But working hard from the bottom up, yes, it's possible, but it is highly competitive. You have to be very resilient.
My investigation was over. Things were getting shady. I had to get out. They looked over what I had found. My results exceeded their expectation. They all had the answer to one question. I guess the BBC is for them.